Okay. 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 Okay, we got now we're live. Well, since you're the one that came up with this bit, you might as well talk about it. So, introduce.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is Rick, and there's an issue. I live in the state of Georgia, United States of America. We had a shooting, and I'm not too sure, but it's somewhere in Georgia. I consider this close to home. I've heard Florida's had their shooting, Denver had their shootings a few times, other places that have. This main thing we're going to talk about is media blast, blasting it, and they be on it for hours. And the focus on is when they're on like that with extended time, it affects the number of people hearing this. And my focus on is these young people hears this, and the question is, are they doing it to get fame? Now I don't know what happened to the suspect, but we know that the people. I hadn't checked the update on if somebody could do that because I don't have a computer with me right now.
Uh,
So
he was arrested. I
well,
know that.
good. Because I'd rather have those people arrested and find out what's on their mind instead of being shot dead.
But what I can say though is well, he was 14 years old first of all. But this is what gets me. He was actually questioned last year by the police after making a comment online about shooting up the school. And the police said we did not see any substantial threat. And this seems to be
Last
like,
year ago.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna cut you in there because according to what I saw yesterday, cause like I said, it's floating all over social media. Is that apparently I thought he called in to the school, saying that he was gonna kill somebody or something, and the school brushed it off, thinking it was like just harmless threat. It wasn't like anything. They thought it was a prank, so it's just they didn't even bother to look more into it. They just let it go.
I
See,
haven't
that's the
seen
thing.
anything about
That's the
that.
thing
But
is we don't take things seriously enough until we find out. Oh,
I'll find you the video.
he said he got a video. Okay, I can pull it on my phone.
Are we just gonna stay in the silence or something?
oh no, sorry, we were waiting for you to pull up the video. My bad.
Yeah, then we're gonna
Oh,
pull up the video, not stay in silence.
oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. No, I was just thinking. Um, but yeah, he was only 14, which is sad as hell. Um, uh, I don't know. Um, I
originally
know.
everybody thought that he wasn't part of the, like he didn't attend the school, but it turns out that he did attend the school, so that's pretty much cleared up.
Well, yeah, I'm still a little bit confused on that though, because even during the press conference, the officer said that he wasn't supposed to be attending the school, but somehow he was still attending the school. And so it's like, well, like, I don't get it. Like, was he supposed to be there or not supposed to be there? Because I guess the confusion was he transferred from another school and this he was new to this school or some yeah, along something along those lines. Like he didn't stay at school very long. Man. Um from
Yeah,
what
well,
I understand.
I posted the video.
Okay. Where's the video at?
Uh,
Oh, the links. Okay, there we go.
yeah, it should be under links.
Uh, just now. Okay. DJ lost one.
Because he did his research
Uh,
and that is what he found.
Alright, let me watch it.
stupid thing. I can't even see if you can play it out loud, Monique. It wants me to open the app.
Yeah, it's actually through TikTok, which is why you can't, why it's telling you to open up the app.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, normally I can go in as a guest and and it lets me do it sometimes. I think I know what it is. It does it on the iPhone, but hold on. Let me see if I can pull it on my Samsung phone.
Um
Yeah.
I don't know though, because that phone call that the school got and it talked about other school shootings. That might not it might not be related to the school shooting that actually took place because it talked about including 4 other schools. And I know last year, one of the things in our county, uh, every school district in our county got an automated phone call threatening a school shooting that day. So every single, I'm talking about like our county, not just one school district. Every school district in Cambria County where I live, and there's like 10 altogether. 10 different school districts at the same time got a phone call saying your schools are going to be shot up. Okay. And they closed school for the day because it was before school even started. They closed school. We were on lockdown for 2 days while the police investigated it just to find out it's a hoax. It's an automated thing that school districts are being sent across the country. Um, so it could just be coincidence that somebody called and something like that. And it could be we could find out that it was more aligned with what happened like in our county last year because it was happening all across the country last year. Um, but so I don't really think it might not be related to the incident, which is why it's not actually reported with the incident. But there was a thing with him last year where he was on Discord, and on Discord he was threatening to shoot up the school. And the police talked to him, but since he only had one more day of the school year left, they said, well, there's no substantial threat because he's not going to be in school for over the summer or whatever, anyways, and they let him go. And then school starts not even a whole week later. This is what's happening. It's another case of the authorities dropping the ball. If they would have done their job, those two students and the two teachers would still be alive today. I'm just putting that out.
I, I agree.
The only thing, and I was talking to Rush about this too, yesterday, is the fact that every single time there's a school shooting or any massive shooting for that matter, the media goes directly to, oh, this person so and so is suffering from a mental illness, and it's like they're not suffering from a mental illness because someone who has
I agree
mental
there. I
who
agree there,
someone who
Dan.
had a mental illness would not wake up one morning and be like, "Oh, let me just shoot up this school. Let me shoot up this movie theater. Let
Well,
me shoot up this park." Like, come on.
I th- I think that the problem is they're not differentiating between mental illness and emotional distress. Somebody that is going through an emotional crisis could do what we saw yesterday at the school. Um, but emotional crisis and a mental health crisis are two different things, and I don't think people realize that. Um, in fact, if you look at statistics actually show that 98% of mass shooters, whether it be at schools, whether anywhere, any kind of mass shooting, 98% of them were going through some kind of emotional crisis, either months, weeks, or days before the shooting took place.
I mentioned
So,
to Dean yesterday about, let's say for an example, let's back this up a little bit. You know that Trump, that young guy, he was what, 18 or 19 or something, shooting at Trump. And I mentioned these things. People plan those things. And school shooting, you if you go up one morning and say you're gonna shoot up somebody, you got a plan to pick up the gun, you got a plan to get the ammunition. All of that takes the time process. Ain't
well,
no
yeah,
and
a
there ain't no
majority, a majority of them are planned. It's very rare that someone wakes up that morning and says, "Oh, I'm going to do this." A majority of them are planned out. But I think the problem is the media doesn't know how to differentiate between mental health and emotional crisis. Um, you can suffer from an emotional crisis, but not have any mental health issues. So, could this kid have been going through an emotional crisis? Yeah, he could have. It could have been lasting for months, considering he was talked to the police last year at the end of last school year. It could have been happening for weeks, days, whatever. We don't know what brought it on, but yeah, anybody who goes in and takes multiple people's lives, they're going through something emotional. So, I mean, do they have mental health diagnosis? Probably not. Are they going through something, an emotional crisis? Yeah.
that's what I call breakdown when people get to a point where it's like I had enough, I can't do this, and they either planned it or they burst out, one of the two.
Well, and even like with Columbine in 1999, one of the things that we found out with that school shooting was that the two boys that did it were very heavily bullied. They were bullied in school on a regular daily basis. The 14-year-old who did the shooting yesterday, his dad said he has been bullied in that school since he started. Okay. And he was bullied in his previous school, which is why he had to move schools because the bullying in the previous school was so bad. Which, okay, you tried to remove your child from bullying. He came to this school, he got bullied again. Um, and I do think if you look at some of it, bullying is a major factor, especially when it's a student who ends up doing the shooting. A student currently in the school, 90% of the time, you're going to find that bullying is a factor. And I think one of the things that the schools need to do, the schools need to be on top of bullying.
I agree there.
They need to have a solid plan. All of them say, "Well, we don't tolerate bullying," but it's just words. It's just words. When a kid can go an entire school year being bullied day after day after day, we have a problem.
But
Here's
that's
an,
another thing
here's another.
that I was telling Rich too yesterday. Is the fact that the student, whoever it could be, and even some adults, but right now, since we're talking about the kids, I'm gonna put it with the kids. But they can tell the teacher 7, 8, 20, 10,000 times a day, yo, this person is picking on me. Do something, do something, do something. Yeah, it's gonna get to a point where they're gonna have enough and be like, you know what, fuck this. This shit is in my hands now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But here's another thing is to take it with bullying is that also the parents is another factor. Parents that either encourage bullying or they're telling their kids to stop bullying. That's another factor. Parents are not doing their job to prevent bullying.
They're
And I
not.
and I think parents, because you are a parent, Lanique, and I'm sure you understand it, that parents' job is to make sure that the kids are in good standing, don't go around acting ugly to other kids. You even got on your kids doing something similar like that. It wasn't bully, but it was an attitude toward their peers that they had, and you got on to them about that. And you did your job. That's where parents need to step in like you did.
Well, yeah, it's sad. But I do want to also so another fact about mass, not just school shootings, but mass shootings in general. That 78% of those who commit a mass shooting or mass violence with another type of weapon are suicidal. And that's alarming as well because what this tells us is that they're suicidal. They want to die. And so they want to take other people out with them. And that's why a lot of times, have you ever noticed, if they're not taken out by the officer, a lot of these mass shooters will shoot themselves?
I mean, I won't. Okay, I get it's sad, but this is where my trouble is. I'm not trying to be like an asshole. I'm not being a prick or anything like that. But this is my thing. If you're suicidal and you don't you think that the easiest thing for you to do is try to kill yourself, not kill everybody else around you? Like you don't need a mass shooting to bring down 20 people because you want to die. And then at the end,
No,
once everything is done, you decide to kill yourself. I'm sorry, no, you got no sympathy from me for doing that.
well, no, and I'm not saying I need sympathy, but it is sad, and here's why it's sad. If you are suicidal, you are in an emotional crisis, okay? Your mind is not in the right place, okay? And that's where it comes into, I think, where they get wrapped up with the mental health when these things happen, especially in the news media, because a lot of these can be prevented. Knowing that most of them are done by people who are suicidal, most of them can be prevented if people see the signs before it gets to that point. There,
You remember
you,
that Vermont case, Lanique? That guy was asking for help, but people ignored it.
yeah, and that's part of the big problem. We're ignoring the red flag. And it's like, look, this person is not in the right state of mind. They're talking about killing themselves all the time. They're talking about, self harm. We got to do something about it. We got to, get them in a facility or get them some help. But instead, we turn a blind eye to it and we're like, oh, well, they're just suicidal. They're only going to hurt themselves. Well, no, you don't actually know what their mind is going through right now. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know any of that. They're in an emotional crisis right now. And reality is, when you're in an emotional crisis, you can do just about anything without even actually thinking about it. You're in an emotional crisis. You're not in your right mind. You don't know what you're doing half the time.
Well, and not only that, like majority of kids and teenagers, they have the signs. Like literally, they're literally showing you the signs. But some parents just choose to be like, "Oh, this is just a phase. You'll get over it." Like you don't get over something like this. And take it from someone who has tried to commit suicide twice.
Well, and exactly, and that's my point. Like, I'm not saying it's an excuse that we need to feel bad for them, because no, they did ultimately take the lives of others, and that's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's disgusting. It's like, it's evil. But at the same time, we need to be able to understand, like, see the signs before it gets to the point where they walk into the school and they take the lives of students. Be
It,
willing
but
to,
by the time you
and
realize,
teachers
because by the
and
time you
teachers.
realize that that person, that child, going to a school shooting up because they're feeling suicidal, and then you find out either through somebody that you know, or through social media, or even by the news, right? Of course, you got nobody to blame but your fucking selves. That's all I'm gonna say.
exactly. Like, how many of them have we seen, especially when they're younger students of the schools? How many have we seen where it's like, well, he was getting mental health here, but his mom was trying to get him the help that she needed, but she was struggling. Um, like the one in that one elementary school where he shot his mom first, and then he went to the school where she worked, and like the um
Is you
one
talking about
person,
the Sandy Hook or something?
it might have been Sandy Hook, but
I don't know if he shot his mom, but I think his mom was alive and the
well,
father was alive.
he shot
I
somebody.
know he shot about some teachers and 20 or
It
30
might not have
students.
been Sandy Hook then. There was one where he shot his mom before he went to the school because the mom was found
Well,
at
I
the house.
know. Well, here's the thing, because there've been plenty. Uh, what's it called? There've been plenty of those cases. I know. It might be Cruz, maybe, or Sandy Hook.
But I know, like, the one lady that worked at the school said that his mom had been trying for 2 years to get him the help that he needed. And she was put on backlist after backlist, waiting for someone to have an opening, waiting for this place to have a bed. And I know that all too well. I've gone through that with my kids. Like, it's a struggle to get your kids the help that they need. It really, truly is. And it should
And
not be that way.
you mentioned you got them help, but they were not getting help enough because they were let out of the facility too quick, or they were released from medical release too quick,
Well,
and you think they're not doing
because
enough.
Well, part of the problem is they push this medication on our kids. And a lot of that mental health medication is actually not good for children and for people under the age of 21. If you give a 14-year-old Adderall, Zoloft, Prozac, any of those, it's actually going to increase their suicidal thoughts, and it's going to make their mental health worse. But 90% of our children who suffer with mental health are on these drugs that are actually not made for children. They're made for people 21 and older.
But here's the
I
thing about it is that
Yeah,
the medicine that
that
they
tells you
take,
a lot
it
about the
makes
health
them
system.
that
It
makes
does.
them either make them sleepy, or it makes them lay back. Those drugs are not helping him. That's just
They're
that's just masking the problem.
well, it's not. They're not even masking the problem. They're making the problem worse, and that's part of the problem. And yes, the drug pharmacies and the therapists and the doctors know this. They know these kids are not supposed to be on this medication, but they don't give a shit because they're getting money.
And I wouldn't bet you the drug companies are pushing them to so they can make money.
Well, and I'll tell
Well,
you,
in
when
this
Tamia,
day and age, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. In this day and age, it's 2024. So of course, right now, money talks. So if you got the money and
Hmm.
you got
Hmm.
everything else, of course they're gonna look away, be like, yeah, we don't care. We're getting paid millions or thousands of
yeah,
dollars for this.
well, and I'll tell you, when my youngest daughter was hospitalized at the end of last school year. The doctor at the facility she was at was actually very shocked. Tried so hard to persuade putting her on medication. And I told her, we're not putting her on medication. We need to, I mean, we'll do therapy, we'll go see a psychiatrist, but you're not putting her on that medication because I know what that medication is capable of.
And that's the
And
problem. They're not listening to you either.
well, she ain't on no medication. I can tell you that. They can prescribe it all they want. I'm not giving it to her.
You're not
I
going to
had
pick it up. You're not going to pick it up.
I had Rite Aid call me multiple
I
times.
will speak
So
with
you know,
experience. I will speak from experience because it has happened to me when I was younger. They gave me medication as well when I was younger. What was it called? I do not remember. But the only thing I
Adderall
remember,
is a common one.
well, I don't,
Adderall
like
is
I said, I don't
acceptable.
remember whatsoever because, like I said, I was younger. But I do remember that medication, right? Um, actually made me hallucinate, and it just made me like
yeah.
completely like not myself. So my dad realized that I was hallucinating shit that wasn't even supposed to be hallucinations. So
And
my once my dad noticed that, like my behavior and everything, he was like, "Yep, nope, this you are getting out of this fucking medication. I'm not giving you this
and
medication anymore."
and you know what's crazy about that? Because you brought up the hallucinations. When you go in for a mental health evaluation, that's one of the questions they ask you before they diagnose you. Do you see hallucinations or hear things that other people don't see and hear? And you know, if you're a teenager, you say, well, if you're not, you say no, right? Then they put you on this medication. You start hearing things and seeing things that other people aren't seeing and hearing, like you were, Dean. So then you go back to your next appointment and they ask you again, any changes? Are you hearing or seeing things that you don't? Well, yeah, I am. And, you know, and I'm
You
telling
know,
you, they are giving
see,
you the problems they want you to have. They're using
And I will
medication to
say
make you,
this
yeah.
too, that thank God my dad actually knows my behavior, knows the difference between when I am me and me by myself and me on medication. Because one day, because otherwise I would have been completely fucked up right now.
Yeah, yeah.
If he didn't say nope, fuck this shit, you're off this medication.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. And so I'm actually happy you brought up that example because that's what they do. They, everything that you say no to, they will prescribe you medication so that when you come back, you're answering yes to those questions. Like, oh yeah, I'm seeing hallucinations now. Oh yeah, I'm doing this now. You know, but when you went there the first time before the medication, you answered no to all those questions. But now, and it's the medicine. It's the medicine. And parents need to be smart enough not to shove medicine in their children, especially if they're not going to do the research on the medication.
some parent will find,
Yeah,
okay, this medicine
like
keeps
I
a
said, I'm
child.
a prime example of that because, like I said, I
What
actually dealt with it.
some of those
Well,
medications can actually cause you to form types of schizophrenia,
yep,
and it's
yep.
insane. Like they want you to get schizophrenia so that you have to rely on the medication for the rest of your life, so they can put money in their pocket for the rest of their lives. It's ridiculous. It truly is.
Yeah,
And
and like I
also,
said, most of it that's been going on, like I get the suicidal thoughts, I get like the hallucination and all that stuff. But like I said, I've dealt with it as
Yeah,
when I was younger. So thankfully, my parents were smart enough to be like, "Yeah, no, fuck this shit. You're not taking this medication no more."
yeah, exactly. What were you gonna say, Rich?
uh, some of these things are, two things is people are getting younger, and it's not just happening. Me and Dean, we talked about there was some kid in elementary school shot a teacher. You're talking about younger than what, 11, 10, 11? And my thing is, with the way media is showing, what happens if an 8-year-old, and I'm gonna say this, and I know you probably took this study about kids psychology. When they reach to an age of reason, they start to learn a little bit at the age of 7. And what happens when kids 8-year-old taking the guns, machine guns, and bringing into school? What do you think that's? You think something like that's going to be next?
Well, here's the problem that falls on parents because I can tell you right now. So when me and my brother were younger, our grandfather, he always had guns. He had a gun on him all the time. And when he would stay at our house, like come visit for the weekend or something, his gun would sleep under his pillow. Me and my brother knew that his gun was under his pillow. We knew that his gun was loaded at all times. But we also knew you don't play with guns. Guns are not toys. They can cause serious damage if they are not handled correctly. I knew this at the age of 5. Okay? Parents, if you're going to have guns in your home, you need to educate your children about guns. They are not toys. Also, I will say this. If you are going to have guns in your house, do
Make
not
sure you
allow
have gun
what?
locks and things like that. But that's not a guarantee that they can't get in there.
Well, if you educate your children properly on guns, you should not you don't have to lock them up all the time. But here's the problem. If you're going to have real guns in your home, educate your kids on guns. Okay, make sure they know they're not toys. But also, don't have fake guns in your house either. Because here's what you're doing. It's a contradiction. We have a real gun. You can't play with this gun. Because guns are, guns can be dangerous if you use them the wrong way. There's a proper way to handle guns and a way not to handle guns. But I'm going to give you this toy gun, and you can do whatever the hell you want with it because it's a toy. So they're going around with their Nerf guns and their toy guns, and they're shooting at you while you're cooking dinner, or they're shooting at their friends outside running around the yard. So they're having fun with their quote unquote toy gun, but you haven't educated them on the difference between toy guns and real guns. So now this 8-year-old sees a real gun sitting on a table. Oh well, it's just like my gun. I have a gun that I play around with and I shoot people with, and let me take this gun and go try it out. Only when they fire that gun at you while you're cooking dinner, guess what it does? It kills you. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Listen,
It's parents. They're not
here's the
educating
thing.
their kids.
Here's what I've been told. Even one the person who was a detective officer, he was cleaning his gun, and he tells me you don't point a gun, whether it's loaded or not, and also real gun or not. You don't point it at people unless you intend to use it.
Well, and I will go even as far as to say any child under the age of 18 does not need to be playing Fortnite. They don't need to be playing Call of Duty. They don't need to be playing what's that other one? The other game. It's
Mortal
like Fort.
Kombat. Mortal
No, it's like
Kombat is another one.
it's like Fortnite, but it's different. What is it called? I don't even remember what it's called. My husband plays it all the time, but I can't remember what it's called. But if you're under the age of 18, you don't need to be playing those games because what those games are doing is they are literally glorifying taking a gun, shooting at somebody with it, and your goal is to kill them. Your goal in every one of those games is pick up that gun and kill your opponent. What do
I'm
you
gonna ask you a
think your
question.
kids, if you have a 10-year-old playing Fortnite, they know that the objective is to kill as many people as possible with their gun. What do you think their mindset is going to be?
You know,
I
sh-
honestly do not. Yeah, that's my opinion. Anybody under the age of 18 should not be playing any of those games.
here's the thing: is that these young people's mind, even though they're glorifying and all that, um, I don't know if you know this one, Nick. I watched a documentary when people go into movie theaters and they watch and they have a quick ad and people don't even remember. They go up and get drinks because it showed it while the movie's going because it was flashing a second. Some of those things are going on in those games where you actually are not seeing it.
Well,
And I think some of it is feeding some subliminal messages. And
well,
I
and
think it's there.
it's contradicting messages. You sit there and you say, "Oh, guns are bad. Guns kill people." Oh, give me 1 second. My mom's calling. Hold on 1 second.
Her mom has impeccable timing.
Yeah,
But I heard part of what she said. But once she comes back, we're gonna take a little. Once she comes back, we're gonna talk about it. But we're gonna take a little bit of a break.
yeah. We'll take a little break.
It's been the number one game for what? How many years now? It is literally
Still
a
is.
game. It
It's
is.
in the top 10.
It is literally a game where your whole objective is to kill as many people as you can, and it's
I'm gonna
not.
go. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit on what you said earlier because I heard part of it.
Yeah.
Because you even said that gun kill people and all that stuff. I'm like, first of all, let me correct you. For anybody who thinks like this, that says guns kill people, no, people kill people. Just
Well,
has a way of doing it. How it's like me going outside with a knife and then I decided to stab some random guy. Are we gonna start saying, well, we need to ban knives because knives kill people? No.
okay. Well, I didn't mean like guns kill people and like that kind of way where like a gun can pick itself up and kill somebody. Yes, a person has to pull the trigger. What my thing was is if you don't handle the gun the proper way, it can kill somebody. Because yeah, you're still
Yeah,
using the gun. If you use the gun improperly, then you are using the gun to kill somebody, whether it be intentional or not. That was more of what I was trying to say. Yes, somebody has to pull the trigger, um, but but that's why kids need to know like this is guns aren't toys because if you pull the trigger, someone can die. Like
you
it's not
you know,
Fortnite. You know they're not going to get back
D,
up.
D knows this too, and I'm sure he knows it. They do have actual guns that are are linked to like Xbox or computers that actually shoots.
Well, those are
And
controllers. Those are
that's
not
another
actual
thing.
guns.
That I'm not talking about a controller. I'm talking. You know how these people will what you call those things you put over your face, and then you got that mechanism where you're moving your hands and all that kind of
Oh, the
stuff.
VR.
The
VR.
VR.
Yeah, that's another one that's added. So you got to look at these are peripherals other than controllers and a mouse and a keyboard with, and some of them are like guns that are linked. And I think I've seen them before on, where
Yeah.
you can buy them. I think I've seen them
Yeah.
before.
But and I think like realistically, I will say this. It depends on what the objective of the game is because I remember on Nintendo they had that gun game where you shot the gun and you were killing ducks, okay? It was like Duck Hunt or something. Um
There's another
but
one on the Wii as well. I have it, but I haven't played on the Wii for a while. But where you play in first person and the controller is basically almost like a VR set for you, where you basically like if you want to throw a grenade, you literally have to do the motion on your hand as though you're throwing a grenade. And using the
yeah,
controller, you throw the grenade like that. It's very similar to the Wii version of it. I have the game. I can't remember the game of it, but I do remember that where I literally have to hold the controller as it was the gun for me to shoot.
yeah, I used to love playing bowling
See,
on
that's what
the
I'm
Wii.
talking about. Something similar, whether it's a real
Yeah.
gun or not.
But here's and I want to make this very clear. I am not blaming the game or the creators of the games for youth gun violence. I just want to make that very clear. It's not on the people that create the games, it's on the parents. The parents are the ones that let their kids play these games and buy these games for their kids. So I just want to make that disclaimer.
I
It is in
agree.
no
I
way
And also gonna
on.
add to
agree.
that, I'm also gonna add to that disclaimer is that every single game has a rating. There's a rating on there for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah,
18 and
they're
plus.
not they're not appropriate for children.
Like for example,
They're
I
not.
I see like because I like playing Mortal Kombat. I'm guilty. I love Mortal Kombat, especially as a kid. But I knew the difference. But I knew the difference between fictional and reality. Okay, even
Me
as a
and my
kid,
brother
even as a kid, I knew that. But
Me and my brother played Mortal Kombat growing up. My parents would buy us the game, but again, just like with your parents, like we were taught fake versus reality.
exactly. So the thing is, like, and a lot of the times, like when I play, especially like online multiplayer, where you do like, uh, I think it's like 3 versus 3 or 1 versus 1, whatever it is. Um, I would see 8-year-olds. Like I would literally have to. I always have my mic muted because I don't like speaking. So I would hear like 8-year-olds playing Mortal Kombat, and I get blown away. I'm like, this game is not for an 8-year-old child
Well,
whatsoever.
well, I will I will
I'm gonna
say
tell you
there.
what's going on. I've got a great nephew who plays Fortnite, and guess how old he is?
Huh,
6 years old.
no, he should
Six
not be
years
playing
old.
Fortnite. But
Yeah.
and here's the thing I will say though. As a parent, I will say there is a difference between unrealistic violence and realistic violence. So Um, when I say that, I mean like watching Tom and Jerry. Okay, I'll use that as an example. And Tom's hitting Jerry upside the head with a hammer or whatever. That's what I would consider unrealistic violence because no, a cat is not going to pick up a hammer and actually use it to kill a mouse. Okay.
Or
Um,
pick up like a grenade and use it to kill a mouse.
exactly, exactly. And
Tom and Jerry.
I would put Mortal Kombat into that unrealistic violence where no, Antonio's not going to play it at 7 years old. But if he was like 13, 14 and he wanted to play it, I wouldn't say no. Because here's the thing. Um, Mortal Kombat is unrealistic. You cannot just punch somebody and have their head fall off. Okay, like it's unrealistic violence. The violence in um Mortal Kombat is not what makes it awful. It's the goring, the blood, the pulling off the head and the guts spilling out. That's what makes it's gory. That's what makes it what it is. Not the violence, the goriness of it. Okay.
It's over.
Um.
It's overdone. It's overkill.
Ex- but I
Too
would
far.
let at 13, 14, I would let Antonio play Mortal Kombat, but not let him play Fortnite because Fortnite is what I consider realistic violence. Because yes, you can pick up a gun and go and actually shoot another person. That's real life. That's real shit that
Well,
happens.
here's the thing. I'm someone that plays Fortnite. Like I said, I'm an adult, whatever. But here's the thing. There's some things in Fortnite that you can also consider unrealistic. Like for example, you're not gonna eat a mushroom and then all of a sudden that mushroom is gonna make you live forever or bring your health back up. That doesn't work that way in real life either.
Well, no, but that mushroom gonna make you put you on a trip. You're gonna be trippy.
Well, yeah, but still, it's not gonna like say, oh yeah, this is gonna fit my, this is gonna help my
Well,
mental state.
eh, well,
I
yeah.
want
In
to add
in
something. I want to
Fortnite,
add
there are
something.
some unrealistic aspects to Fortnite, but the main objective of Fortnite is realistic. It's using guns, which is really exist in real life, to kill other people, which really exist in real life. Do you get what I'm saying, Dean? Like, it's the main objective of
Yeah,
it.
no,
That's
yeah, I
realistic.
know, yeah, I know where you're getting with it, but I'm just saying, like, it's. I feel like Fortnite is a mixture of both, for
Yeah,
me
yeah,
Can
anyway.
but
I can I add something to it? Even though we're
no.
talking about game,
Yeah,
talking
go
about
ahead.
games, uh, I also watch some TV show. How many of y'all have watched Rambo? How many of y'all have watched Rambo?
What the hell
Is
is
First
that
of all,
Rambo? Isn't
is
that
that
isn't
a
that a
TV
movie?
show or a movie? I thought it was a movie.
it is a movie.
You said
There's
TV
Rambo
show.
2 and 3. Yeah, no, it's a
You said
movie. It's a
You said
movie.
okay. Well,
TV
you
show,
said
It's a
so
movie.
that's why I got confused. I'm like, there's a TV
I was
show
about to
called
be like,
Rambo.
let me pull that up. I'm gonna watch
And
that. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I've
and,
seen the
and
movies.
see, Rambo was I don't know what it is. He was a beret. He goes in shooting people, shooting and he got that military mind that he's not finished with the mission. And at the end of the movie, the general comes that he knows the general. He said it's over. Got him to settle down. But see, that's another thing. TVs would that that much violence is like shooting up, and games not the only one that's happening. It's happening
Yeah,
in
but you can say
movies
you call
as
it
well.
movies.
TV.
You can say the same thing about TV shows. Take a look at Law and Order. Take a look at NCIS. Take a look at like
Hmm.
Blue Bloods and all of
And I
these
wa-
other
and I
shows.
and I watch so what you mentioned, Dane.
Well,
Exactly.
and
So have I. So if you're gonna say, oh, movies too, then TV shows do the exact same thing.
well, and
Yep.
again, though, I think it's how it's presented because if you a show like Law and Order, do they show violence? Yes, but they don't show it in a way that glorifies it. There is a difference, and it's all in how you present the content that you're presenting. Law and Order is more of the hey, they committed a violence and now they're being held responsible for it and they're going to jail. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like it's not glorifying the violence. It's showing you the consequence of what happens when you do shit. Um, and when you commit violence. Not every movie and like yeah, there might be violence in some movies, but not every movie glorifies the violence because you have even war movies about war. Yeah, you're going to have violence in war movies, but how are they presenting it?
Well,
Because a lot
even
of
in
your
mafia movies, like for example, The Godfather is a prime example. Is that I don't know if they glorify it because I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but still,
Oh, speaking of those old movies like Al Capone, where they take a gun and they shoot people. Man, they had a ton of those.
well, yeah, and like I would not let Antonio watch The Godfather. I watched it. I love. It's a good movie. I would. you know.
Yes,
But
even like Goodfellas too. It's like or Bronx Tale and all this movie that actually glorifies that specific thing.
yeah, yeah, and like I said, it again, like it depends on how you present it. I would say, although Godfather is a really good movie, it's not a movie for kids. It does glorify mafia violence, and my 7 year old would never be watching it. I actually and like even though I use Law and Order as an example of one that doesn't glorify violence but does show it and then shows the consequence, Antonio would never I would never sit down on the couch with him and watch it either. If I was watching it and he came down to sit with me and watch TV, I would turn it off and we'd watch something else. Um, but it's just one of those things where how the different things are presented and what you're trying to show, um, and that it does make a difference. Because like realistically, like I mentioned, Call of Duty, and there's other games too that
Call of
are
Duty is one that I always use as an example, no matter what example it is. Call of Duty is 100% where it is glorified and actually uses realistic guns such as
It's
the
mi- it,
AK-47, the Tommy
it's
gun, and all that
military
stuff.
promoted. Call of
Exactly,
Duty is
military is
military
yeah. They have like
military
the
promoted.
actual yeah, and they also have actual gun names in their actual game.
well, and one of the things with Call of Duty, my main issue with Call of Duty is that it's supposed to be military based, but it's not reality. Okay, people play Call of Duty and they're like, "Oh, I'm a military man," blah 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 blah. You know,
But when they get
looks like
18 and join the
it,
military, and they're gonna find out it's a whole lot different than what they see in
and
those
yeah,
games.
it's not that's not what war is. Okay, like our military is not going out and just going into random places and just killing everybody they see. Like that's not reality.
But going in circles, some of these games you go into circles because you're going back to that same place, shooting up again, seeing these random mobsters, and that's another thing. Military, and realistically, in military, they will clear the area and move to the next. They may games may show maybe two or three clears up, but it resets. That's not
Yeah.
reality either. That's not reality either.
Well, and that's why I said like those games like that, and even like Fortnite and stuff, and like even Call of Duty, it's not realistic. You can't shoot somebody or have somebody shoot you, kill you, and you come back again. And you're back to life. Like that's not
You know,
reality.
that guy Matthew, the one in Sandy Hook. He had games. He played those games.
Well, and like I said, I'm not blaming the games. I'm blaming the parent. It is not the maker of the game's responsibility to make sure that your
And
kids are
it's
not
not,
playing
and
it.
it
It is
yeah,
yours.
They, they,
and it's not also the people that comes out with like the PlayStation and the Xbox and all these other consoles and like Microsoft. If the blame is not on them, like Nick says, the blame is on the parent.
See,
Exactly.
here's the
I
thing.
mean,
Here's the
some of those
thing.
games could be a stress release. Like I'm not even playing. You come home from work and you want to get on Fortnite and just
Be
live.
stressed and pretend that these
Exact.
people are customers that you hate, and by all means.
Here's
But
here's
but
the key.
but
Here, here's the key.
for
Here's the
children
key.
it's different though. They're not using the stressor. They're picking up stuff from them. Hold on one second.
Here's the thing. That over the years, okay, uh, you can listen.
Yeah,
Over
we
the
just
years,
keep talking. She'll come back.
over the years, I have seen, movies that parental guidance suggested. And it tells you, it lets the parents know, knowing what you're watching, putting your kids through, and they're giving you
Yeah,
warnings.
that's
And
what
some of
exactly what
it,
I'm saying.
they're not
Even movies.
about the age, about the age. Games, TVs, movies, anything like that. They tell you the warnings. They give you
They don't just tell you the
parental.
warning. They give you the rating. So like for example, if you're watching a
It's
horror
not just
movie,
that.
well here's the thing, like
But
if you're
see,
watching a horror movie, like for example, I don't know, I'm just gonna make one up. Okay, let's take The Conjuring for example. That movie is rated R. Why would you take a 6-year-old child to the movie theater to
I
watch The Conjuring. Please make that make sense.
and see my actual niece. She watched those things since she was younger, but
Does
she's
she
not
know the
doing those
difference?
things. Well, see, I hadn't been around to know the difference, but I'm sure.
Exactly.
But
Because there's
but
some
she's
kids
30.
that do know the difference, and there's
She's
some that
your age.
don't.
She's 30 years old. She's 30 years old, practically the same age as you, Dean. She's not doing none of that stuff. But just because you don't see kids not doing it, but there are other kids are doing it as well too.
Okay, but here's the thing. They have ratings, but are the ratings accurate? No, they're not. Because even Fortnite, nobody under the age of 18 should be playing Fortnite, in my opinion. However, Fortnite is rated T for teen. Do you know what age T for teen ratings start at?
And
We'll say 13.
13. 13-year-olds should not be playing Fortnite.
they're
Well,
even
here's the
they're even 10s and
well here's the
12 year
thing.
olds.
Well, here's the thing
And
that I have an
I
issue with
mentioned
it.
about my great nephew is playing it at age 6.
But the thing is, though, like I said, these companies, well, not companies, but these developers don't know who is playing and what age they are. As far as
Yeah,
I
they
know,
They
do.
do,
but
I
here,
think they do know. I think they do know, but they let the parents. They give the
because I'm
parents
gonna be
plenty of
completely honest with
warning.
you. Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I stopped playing Fortnite for a while because they keep changing every single bullshit about the game. Because now they decided to start banning people because they know kids are playing it. So now they decided to start banning people
It's
if they're
like I've
being
been.
toxic or if they're
Oh,
cursing or if they're this or they're that. So it makes the game extremely unfun. So you might as well just like change the whole entire game and be like, you know what, it's rated E for everyone at this
So,
point.
so yeah, they do know the age range of the people that are playing it. Then they know that younger kids are playing it, and that's not okay.
Yeah, because they can keep changing the rules for especially for the adults. Because now I remember when we, at least I remember growing up with like Call of Duty, especially on the Xbox 360, um, or even like a PlayStation 3. It's like there I will play like multiple online games, and of course, like I said, I never like talking on the microphone whatsoever. So I would hear like very toxic behavior out of everything, but back then that was normal. At least for me, that was normal. But nowadays, everybody has gone completely soft. They decided to change the rule to benefit one half of the community, which is the kids, knowing damn well that the freaking game is rated
oh,
T.
you
So,
know, Dean. Back in those days, they have a certain amount of violence. Now the violence has got 10 times more than it was 30 years ago.
but here's the thing: the violence is still the same. But the issue is that, like I said, trash talk has always been part of the game. But now, especially with everything being online, nobody can't really verify that. Oh yeah, this person playing is an 8-year-old child playing on their parents or brothers, sisters, whatever account. So they must be an adult. They don't know that for sure, 100%.
That's
Well, I will say,
parental supervision.
I will say,
I think
Fortnite
they
is one
need
of those ones. Fortnite might be T for teen, but don't give me that bullshit that they don't know who's playing because they do because they actually target children. They target children for their game. Okay. Um,
Yeah, which is why I said if you're gonna market T for teen, you might as well just change the rating and put E for everybody.
but it's not E
bullshit.
for everybody, and
You
it
know
shouldn't
what
even
got in this is
be
my
teen.
thought. I talked to Lanique and Dean about this yesterday, and Lanique earlier about we were talking about, and I'm not going to try to get into religion too much, and Revelation about the devils with 10 horns or diamond crowns or whatever. Some of these are these things like media and games. These are the people that are the evils of this world. The Bible says